Once upon a time, there was a young girl named Cinderella who lived happily with her parents in a small house. Her mother loved her dearly, but sadly passed away when she was still a child. Her father later remarried a cruel woman who had two beautiful yet arrogant daughters. After her father's death, Cinderella was treated harshly by her stepmother and stepsisters. They forced her to do all the household chores, from cooking and cleaning to taking care of the animals, while constantly scolding and mistreating her. One day, the kingdom announced a grand ball where the prince would choose his bride. Every young woman was invited, and whoever won the prince's heart would become Queen Cinderella, longed to tend. But her stepmother and stepsisters forbade her, mocking her for being poor and unworthy. As her stepmother and stepsisters left for the ball, Cinderella sat alone, feeling sad and hopeless. Suddenly, a fairy godmother appeared, and with her magic transformed Cinderella's rags into a dazzling gown. She also turned a pumpkin into a carriage and animals into servants. However, she warned Cinderella that the magic would disappear at midnight. At the ball, Cinderella captivated everyone, especially the prince. They danced together and quickly grew fond of each other. But as the clock struck midnight, Cinderella panicked and ran away, leaving behind one of her glass slippers. The prince, unable to forget her, set out to find her by having every girl in the kingdom try on the slipper. Finally, the prince arrived at Cinderella's house. Despite her stepmother's attempts to stop her, Cinderella tried on the slipper, and it fit perfectly. The prince recognized her as the girl he loved. They got married and lived happily ever after, while her stepmother and stepsisters lost all power over her. Cinderella's story teaches us about perseverance, kindness, and believing in a brighter future.
Long ago, in a rural village near the Red River, a poor woman became pregnant after stepping into a mysterious giant footprint in the field. She later gave birth to a baby boy, but strangely, he neither spoke nor walked for 3 years. When the invaders attacked the kingdom, the king sent envoys across the land, searching for warriors to fight. Upon hearing this, the boy suddenly spoke for the first time, asking his mother to call the envoy and request an iron horse, iron armor, and an iron whip to fight the enemy. From that moment on, Thien grew at an incredible speed, eating enormous amounts of food. When the king provided the weapons, Thien donned the armor, mounted his iron horse, and rode into battle. The iron horse breathed fire, and Thien wielded his whip, striking down enemy soldiers. During the fierce battle, his iron whip broke without hesitation.
Thien uprooted bamboo along the road and used it as a weapon
to continue defeating the invaders. After securing victory, he did not return home. Instead, he rode his horse to the top of Saksun Mountain and ascended into the sky, leaving behind deep hoof prints that later grew into a lush bamboo forest. The king honored him with the title Fu Dong Thien, and the people built temples to worship him. Every year, the Jung Festival is held in Saksun to celebrate his heroism. The legend of Saint Jiang represents the Vietnamese spirit of patriotism and resilience, portraying a mythical warrior with extraordinary strength who rises to protect his homeland. The people built temples to worship him. Every year the Jung Festival is held in Saksun to celebrate his heroism. The legend of Saint Jiang represents the Vietnamese spirit of patriotism and resilience, portraying a mythical warrior with extraordinary strength who rises to protect his homeland. Once upon a time, there was a young shepherd boy who was tasked with watching over a flock of sheep on a hill near the village. However, feeling bored, he came up with a mischievous prank. One day he ran down to the village and shouted, "Wolf! The wolf is here!" The villagers panicked, rushed up the hill to help him. But when they arrived, they only found the boy laughing, delighted by how he had tricked them. A few days later, he cried out again, "Wolf! The wolf is here!" The villagers, though frustrated, rushed up once more. But when they realized they'd been tricked again, they angrily walked away, no longer trusting him. Then one night, a real wolf appeared. It crept around the sheep with glowing eyes in the darkness. The boy panicked and screamed, "Help! The wolf is really here!" But this time no one came. They thought it was another prank. The wolf charged at the sheep, scattering them in all directions. The boy helplessly watched as the wolf took some of the sheep. Sad and regretful, the boy realized the consequences of lying. From that day on, he never lied again. Moral of the story: that a story teaches that if you lie too many times, when real danger comes, no one will trust you or come to help.
Once upon a time, 3 little pigs left their mother's home to build houses of their own. The first pig was lazy and built his house out of straw because it was quick and easy. The second pig wasn't much more hardworking and built his house out of wood, which was stronger than straw, but still not very sturdy. The third pig was diligent and wise, taking his time to build a strong house made of bricks.
One day a big bad wolf appeared, hungry for the pigs.
He went to the straw house first and blew it down with a single breath. The first pig ran to the wooden house for safety. The wolf followed and blew down the wooden house just as easily.
Terrified, the two pigs ran to their brother's brick house. The wolf, determined to eat them, huffed and puffed, but couldn't destroy the brick house. Furious, the wolf climbed onto the roof, planning to enter through the chimney. However, the third pig was clever and had already lit a fire with a pot of boiling water beneath the chimney. When the wolf slid down, he fell straight into the boiling pot, got badly burned and ran away, never to return. From that day on, the three pigs lived happily and safely in the sturdy brick house. The story teaches that hard work and careful planning led to success, while laziness can result in trouble.
Once upon a time, a couple longed for a child. When the wife became pregnant, she craved Rapunzel plants from a witch's garden. The husband secretly picked some but was caught. To earn forgiveness, he had to give their daughter to the witch upon birth. The witch raised the girl and named her Rapunzel. As Rapunzel grew, the witch locked her in a tall tower with no stairs or doors. Every day, the witch called out, "Rapunzel, let down your hair," and climbed up using Rapunzel's long golden locks. One day, a prince happened to hear Rapunzel singing and followed the witch. After she left, he mimicked her words and climbed the tower. The two quickly fell in love, and the prince promised to help Rapunzel escape. But their plan was discovered. The witch cut off Rapunzel's hair and banished her to the forest. When the prince returned, the witch tricked him, causing him to fall from the tower and become blind. The prince wandered the forest for years until he finally found Rapunzel. As she cried, her tears fell into his eyes, miraculously restoring his sight. Reunited, they returned to the kingdom and lived happily ever after. The story of Rapunzel teaches us about love, courage, the desire for freedom, and the power of forgiveness.
Once upon a time, in a lush green forest, there was a mighty lion, the king of all animals. One day, while he was sleeping under the shade of a tree, a little mouse accidentally ran across his body, waking him up. Angry at being disturbed, the lion quickly caught the mouse in his sharp claws. The frightened mouse pleaded, "Please spare my life. If you let me go, I promise to help you one day." The lion laughed at the idea, thinking that such a tiny creature could never help him. However, feeling merciful, he decided to let the mouse go. Sometime later, while wandering through the forest, the lion got caught in a hunter's trap. The ropes tightened around him, making it impossible to escape. He roared in distress, hoping someone would come to his aid. Hearing his cries, the little mouse rushed to the scene. Using its sharp teeth, it gnawed through the ropes little by little, until the lion was finally free. The lion was deeply touched and ashamed for having underestimated the mouse before. He said, "You have taught me a valuable lesson. Kindness is always repaid, and no one is useless, no matter how small." From that day on, the lion and the mouse became friends, proving that even the smallest creatures can do great things. Moral of the story: never underestimate others, and kindness will always be rewarded.
Once upon a time, in the vast land of Pride Lands, there was a mighty lion king named Mufasa. He and his queen Sarabi gave birth to a young prince named Simba, who was destined to inherit the throne. All the animals rejoiced at Simba's birth, but one was not pleased: Scar, Mufasa's ambitious younger brother, who longed to seize the throne for himself. Scar plotted to kill Mufasa by tricking Simba into a dangerous gorge and orchestrating a wildebeest stampede. As Mufasa tried to save Simba, Scar cruelly pushed him off a cliff to his death. He then deceived Simba into believing that he was responsible for his father's death, causing the frightened cub to flee. Believing Simba was gone, Scar took the throne and allied with the hyenas, leading the land into ruin. Simba wandered into a distant jungle, where he was rescued by two new friends, Timon and Papa. He grew up under their carefree philosophy: Hakuna Matata, no worries, no responsibilities. However, when he reunited with his childhood friend Nala, he learned that his homeland was suffering under Scar's rule. With the guidance of the wise man Rafiki, Simba realized his true duty and returned to Pride Lands to challenge Scar. After an intense battle, Scar was defeated and betrayed by the hyenas. Simba reclaimed his rightful place as king, restoring life and balance to the kingdom. In time, Simba and Nala had a cub of their own, continuing the circle of life and bringing Pride Lands back to its former glory. The story teaches about responsibility, courage, family, love, and the laws of nature. Once upon a time, in the vast land of Pride Lands, there was a mighty lion king named Mufasa. He and his queen Sarabi gave birth to a young prince named Simba, who was destined to inherit the throne. All the animals rejoiced at Simba's birth, but one was not pleased: Scar, Mufasa's ambitious younger brother, who longed to seize the throne for himself. Scar plotted to kill Mufasa by tricking Simba into a dangerous gorge and orchestrating a wildebeest stampede. As Mufasa tried to save Simba, Scar cruelly pushed him off a cliff to his death. He then deceived Simba into believing that he was responsible for his father's death, causing the frightened cub to flee. Believing Simba was gone, Scar took the throne and allied with the hyenas, leading the land into ruin. Simba wandered into a distant jungle, where he was rescued by two new friends, Timon and Papa. He grew up under their carefree philosophy: Hakuna Matata, no worries, no responsibilities. However, when he reunited with his childhood friend Nala, he learned that his homeland was suffering under Scar's rule. With the guidance of the wise man Rafiki, Simba realized his true duty and returned to Pride Lands to challenge Scar. After an intense battle, Scar was defeated and betrayed by the hyenas. Simba reclaimed his rightful place as king, restoring life and balance to the kingdom. In time, Simba and Nala had a cub of their own, continuing the circle of life and bringing Pride Lands back to its former glory. The story teaches about responsibility, courage, family, love, and the laws of nature.